Hello, this is my first video that I'm making on zines and comics, and basically I've been collecting them for like over a year now, and I just kind of, when I've looked on YouTube for videos on zines and things like that, I feel like there really aren't enough of them. With how many zines that there actually are in the world, you'd think that there would actually be more videos. So I just wanted to make a video showing some of the ones that I've collected. A lot of them are from Microcosm Publishing, and most of the others are ones that I bought at the 2017 Philadelphia Zine Fest, which was really fun. But to start off, I wanted to share a zine that I made, and this is one of the first that I ever made. I've really only made a few. And this isn't the photocopied version, this is like the original copy. I basically just came up with the idea for this video like off the cuff. So I don't know if anyone else is like this, but if I don't do something right away, I will put it off and eventually never do it, which is why it's taken me so long to make any type of video. So anyway, so this is the one that I made, and it's just like a small zine about anxiety, and these are all cutouts from magazines. And the back is too. Looks better photocopied, but I couldn't find the version. So I'll just kind of read through it. So it's called Avoid, which is inspired by one of the last releases that Lil Peep had before he died. It was like a collaboration with Wicca Phase, Springs Eternal. Anyway, that's the inspiration for the title. Opens up. I think there is a definite correlation with anxiety and being alone. I can't help but act weird. No one wants to be that sulking weirdo in the corner. This is a playlist, which I still stand by. I've been really getting into the Jesus and Mary chain, and I've always loved Thursday, but oh my gosh, and the Gilmore Girls theme song just makes me cry. As I left my teenage years in the dust, I was confronted with the truth that I am a conductor of my own life. Slowly, quietly, I attack my own self-doubt with a subtle ferocity. And then, before I realized it, I glued down a plastic dinosaur picture. And I realized, wow, a plastic dinosaur, subtle ferocity, like, kind of goes well. And then this reminds me of like the Modern Baseball album, but so that's the first one I wanted to show. Second one, this cost like $3 from Microcosm Publishing, and honestly it was not worth $3. I would say like $1 at the most, but it is like hand, the watercolor, they added it to each publication of the zine. Today I took my little shovel and ever so carefully weeded my garden of every single last little fuck. I started by stabbing deeply into the mind, loosening the roots of that fuck that grew like hot jealousy in late summer. And I'll just kind of let you pause the video and read through it. But I do love the colors, and this is like a cool addition to my collection. And it's interesting because you can see like how the pages are kind of, I guess, water damaged from the paint. And then this are a few that I picked up from the Philly Zine Fest, which it was this really quiet guy sitting at this table. And here's his information if you want to purchase some. But he just kind of stood out to me because he was very just quiet, and I just kind of like, I'm sure a lot of you can relate, I really kind of are drawn to like quiet people. They're kind of not taking up that much space. What I really found amazing about this was the drawing, and I have another one where they kind of use this tool, but I'm trying to show you it. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I'm not sure like the right angle, but it's a really cool picture nonetheless. The second one. And these kind of zines are my favorite, where it's just very homemade. This is kind of like the inside of his backpack, or his bag. And that's my favorite. I'll show you some zines that were designed by professionals, but my favorite will always be, I think I folded this one weird or something. But very cool. Definitely am doing this wrong. Why can I remember? I need to figure that one out later, but so I definitely look him up. Very nice person. And this is one that I unfortunately I spilled a drink on, so it's all wrinkly. But this is like a professionally done comic. Who was it? I can't exactly remember, but it's obviously extremely not appropriate for YouTube, most likely. But I do love this kind of comic. The guys who sold this were very nice. They were kind of like, on the outside, they were sort of older guys, selling unique material. This is another classic mini zine. This person was nice, very good salesperson. I bought like pretty much everything they were selling, because they actually sold this for like $1. Just monuments that you can see, I think, in DC. What else did I want to show? Oh, this is another one I bought from Microcosm, which is one of the best places to buy zines. Oops. Because they just have so many at hand. I know ideally you want to find them from the original makers, but this one is about the menstrual cycle and using menstrual cups and kind of the history of it. I was actually going to give this to my friend. I actually work with her. She is going into sex ed, but I ended up liking this so much that I kept it. So I did give her another one that was really cool. But in the back it has a mini zine. Pet vampires. I guess they're like period vampires, but so cute. Night of September 3rd, 2016. Cool. And I'm thinking, I over the past like 2 years, I've collected a lot of zines. So these are just a few. This is another comic that I got from, oh, what's their name? Oops, probably can't show that on YouTube, but see, this is I love this art. Ooh, Lou Reed. I haven't read this yet for some reason, but I will. I like this. I like this zine because it's like the example of just the different formatting that zines can take. And I'll be honest, I don't even know who any of these men are. So I never looked any of them up. So I'm not really sure. But I like the drawings. Here's the person who sells them. See the stitching. It's kind of cool. Nice. Okay. This is another one from Microcosm. And if you've bought or purchased enough zines from Microcosm, you probably have this, but there's the kind of the story of it. And you might say, like, is this really worth $4 to $5? But it is. If you read the like info page about this, it's basically a guy found all these old applicant files, and with each one there was written extremely specific like critiques of each person, which I find hilarious because would they do that nowadays? Rather tense. Funny. So I recommend that one. This is another one from Microcosm that's very popular. The Dropping Out zine, which actually I saw at the Philly Zine Fest for free, but I bought it. And this is interesting. It's basically a zine about 16-year-old kid, dropped out of school, doesn't live at home, just kind of lives on the road. So if you're a fan of Into the Wild or something like that, then you'd find this interesting. I read through it. Personally, this person's outlook is very good, which is like anti-materialism, anti-like conformity, but actually I did get this for free. It was at I think it was called The Big Think. It's like a bookstore in Pittsburgh that specializes in like anarchist books, and they had like a rack of free and also zines that you bought. So anyway, it's like a young girl living on her own now. She kind of talks about having a boyfriend, or this man who helps her. And, you know, I think she has the right idea, but I don't know. I just, you know, it's interesting, but it's interesting when you get older and then you can kind of see younger people's kind of lapses in judgment. It's definitely a cool read. I love this one, if just for the cover. It's the back, which is basically filled with reviews of zines, and oh my god, I definitely recommend this from Microcosm, because it's all these people who make zines, and then all the zines that they were sent or they found and where to buy them, and giving like descriptions and what different subject matter, and it's a really, really useful. This one was a little bit, I think this is from a few years ago, so obviously not everything is going to be, yeah, it's from 2012, so obviously not all of these are going to be available still, but it's still really cool to see. Even, I haven't even looked into buying any of these yet, to be honest, but it's really interesting to see all the different types that are out there. And it tells you like which ones you have to buy and ones that you can trade with for other zines. So this is a free one that I got at the Anarchist bookstore in Pittsburgh. Let's see? I forget what this is about, honestly. Oh, it's just like a little thing on anarchy. This is the press. Super cool. And then this is, I think might be the same publishers of this one. And again, this is not appropriate for YouTube. Let me try to find a page that is actually appropriate. It's going to be hard. Basically, this is a comic extremely inspired by, from what I understand, like 50s underground comics. And it's extremely offensive. It's not safe for work or really anywhere in public, but definitely has some really cool art. I like horror comics, so this doesn't offend me, but it is cool. And I'd recommend buying them. You can get this actually on Etsy, and I was able to buy like four or five of the issues for like $45, which isn't too bad. And also the writer Jason Atomic sent a little note, which was cool. And I'll save my favorite for last, but since we're showing all this shit, or not shit, but interesting stuff, ooh. Sorry, my camera froze. I basically bought a bunch of comics recently off of this seller on Instagram, and I bought a few of these What If comics, and I love them. It basically takes a storyline and it says, okay, so what would have happened if this didn't happen? Like, what would happen if Spider-Man never met Mary Jane? Or, oh, let's see. And I didn't grow up reading comics or anything like that, so a lot of these I don't know the backstory of, but it does give you, with each issue of the What If, like a little bit of background, so if you didn't know anything about it, this is kind of hard to show, but yeah. He is basically a really great seller on Instagram. And if anyone wants me to tell you who he is, I will. So this is What If the Punisher's family hadn't been killed? I don't know anything about the Punisher, honestly, but these give you, sorry, I should have taken them out beforehand, but they give you little sort of info about who is who. So I'm going to read that soon. It's a beautiful page right there. And I haven't been into comics that long, but I found this at the Philadelphia Zine Fest, and it amazes me. I could not believe when I found this. I had this vision I always think like, oh, I wish there was like more things out there like this. Oh my gosh. This guy, from what I can tell, he's been selling there for a while now. And this is like one of my favorite comics that I've ever found. It's basically about his early childhood. He kind of grew up in like a rural, I think in like Allentown, Pennsylvania. And basically about him like having visions and this is him having visions of like these kind of Powerpuff type girls. It's sort of like Coraline. That's what it reminds me of. I wish he would come out with this is his information, and look, second printing, 30 copies, like, there should be more than 60 copies of this in existence. So, I'd highly encourage you to go, like, look at that. It kind of reminds me of Dame Darcy, a little bit. Sort of like Coraline, Dame Darcy type art, if that's even something, but so those are all the zines that I had for you today. A few comics in there. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know if you want me to. I could make a video of me making a zine. But anyway, thank you, and I'll see you next time.